We're shedding our masks and breaking down walls. Hell, we may even drop our drawers. That's right. We're going commando with Angela and Dana. Hi, I'm Dana Sardano, and this is Angela DiMarco, and we are Going Commando. As you can see by the giggles on our faces, we've had conversation before we pressed play or record, and we're just doing what we do. We are dropping the walls and taking off our masks and just being who we are and having conversations about real stuff. And here we are today talking about real stuff. Angela, say hello to the nice people.
Hello, nice people. Yeah, we have these conversations every Monday morning on the phone, and we thought, you know what? We say some pretty profound stuff, or we uncover some pretty cool things after a long weekend of not talking to each other. Because I can't quit you.
I can't quit you. Yeah, we realize we're wicked smart, and we want everybody to know about it.
No. We both are going through so much that is just what a lot of people are going through, and just how we're handling life as it comes along, and we want to share it with you guys.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Whether we want to admit it or not, or whether we are able to see it or not, we are constantly evolving, right? We're constantly in a state of evolution. When we resist that evolution, when we resist that change, it's challenging. And when we go with the flow, it's a little bit, not only is it easier, but it's more enjoyable, right? It's a lot more fun. And Angela and I, I can hear it in my head. We work very hard at not working at it. But in essence, we consciously are trying to stay in the state of flow, which is a little bit, of an oxymoron or a little bit of a paradox that we're trying to not try, but it's a constant work in progress. It's a constant state of balance. We're trying to maintain that state of balance, and we just felt like talking about it publicly. So, for those of you who don't know us, our dear friend Ann Marie Skordy, she's a trance channel, and she's channeled these beautiful messages from the higher realms, and we together created a deck of cards called the Soul Traveler Cards of Empowerment. It's my artwork, and it's her channeled messages. So Angela and I, we're going to pick a card, and we're going to have a conversation, and we're going to see where it goes. You cool, Boo?
Yeah, we're good. I'm cool, Boo. Yeah, we're going to riff on the idea, see what sparks the conversation du jour, and we'll see what comes out of it. And the cards are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, your artwork is, and Ann Marie's channeling is so
it's all right.
It is also, but it's all like that stuff you need to hear. Like, when you get like a fortune cookie and somehow that fortune just makes sense, it's because you need to hear it at that moment. So whatever you pull today, let's see where it goes. Yeah.
So I did pull a card before we started. But I will tell you, this weekend, I was at the gallery and I was doing some work, and I was doing something with the cards, and I had to go through each card, and I wasn't reading any of them. And there was just one that I just chose to read. And when I tell you, I've read it 50 billion times. I had to edit the cards. I had to re-edit the cards. We did a second edition of the cards. I had to edit those. And I read it for the first time that it really, really made sense to me. I'm like, shit, man. It's crazy how stuff comes to us constantly. We're like, I know that, but do you? Or you do, but in that level of awareness. So the card that I pulled today is like the sister to this card. So I'm going to read the card that I pulled today, and then maybe we'll talk about the one this weekend. But it's all really cool stuff. Okay. So this is the card I pulled. This is Blue. I love her. She's an Ubuntu girl. Okay. So here's the message. Follow your way. We are all one, yet each individual is different. The paths are designed for each individual for their own unique purpose. No two are identical. Follow yourself. Do things your way. This is your experience. Your inner communication is telling you what to do. Follow your way.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. So being that I already read it, Angela, tell me, what do you think, my love?
Right off the bat, it's like, okay, duh, I needed to hear that message today. Who's on your mug, by the way? Who's that one? That's that Lucky?
Yeah.
Lucky.
Yeah.
She's so cool too.
Oh yeah, I got these girls everywhere. For those of you who don't know me, I mean, I've got everywhere you look. I'm like, who's that? Oh, she's on my shirt. Oh, she's on my bag. Go to my website. All right. So anyway, go on.
Okay. So, all right. So the whole idea, I've been really involved because, you know, we've created this business and we're trying to build the business. And I've been spending time on LinkedIn, and you find so many people out there that have their idea of what the right way to do is. Here's how you present to investors. Here's this 5 do's and don'ts and blah, 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 blah. And if you read when I read all of that, when I do, I get a little like, am I doing it right? I might be doing it wrong. And it creates that fear in me that like distinguishes that voice of doing it my way. And the minute I step back from it and I look at my stuff, like my beautiful presentation deck and all the things, and I know our story, then I feel so much more. I'm like, no, wait. Fuck the rules. Because I know in my heart what feels good and what feels right. And it's about blocking out the noise and not letting the fear seep in for me anyway.
Yeah. You know, and what we do as human beings when we have learned through our experiences, because many of us, all of us, have had missteps along the way, right? So I call them missteps. I don't want to call them mistakes, but a misstep is like, basically a misstep is just, it took you more times than one to learn the lesson. That's all it is. And then you did it 2 or you did it 3. I was joking with somebody that I was working with. We don't need to say who it is, but I was joking with her and I was like, yeah, it took me like 50 boyfriends to figure out, I have a pattern. And she was like, 50, huh? And I'm like, listen, I don't want to brag. but it took me until I was like 40 to figure this out. So the misstep is really like, I recognize that because I had that experience and it was unpleasant. I recognize it because I had that experience 2 or 3 times and it was unpleasant. Right? But the reality is when we start to recognize that these situations are unpleasant and we're creating a pattern, then we can change it. But when we're not consciously doing that, and many of us aren't, like I said, I didn't start really being aware of what I was doing until I was in my 40s. Before that, it was just,
throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Throw spaghetti everywhere. That stuck. That didn't stick. Let's try it again. Another misstep. But anyway. But what happens is we start to not trust ourselves because the decisions that we make turn into missteps. So when we don't trust ourselves, we start looking outward, right? And looking outward for other people's advice, looking outward for certain institutions or guidance or whatever. I don't want to start. I could feel myself going in a direction. But we start like looking outward. And what happens is we lose sight of our way. And what I've had to do on more than one occasion is sit myself down and look at my experience in my life and look at my relationships and look back and say, have you ever met another person like you? Good, bad, and different. Doesn't matter. I'm like, no. In this situation, was anybody else like you? Did anybody else do that? No. In this situation. So the reality is you are your own unique individual. So these are the conversations I have with myself on the daily. If you are your own unique individual, then why are you following somebody else's way? Now, if you're stuck and you need guidance and you need advice, that's fine. But at the end of the day, you got to put your own stink on it and make it yours. Yeah. And that's where I think we get stuck because we're looking outward. Even me, I'm like writing all these books and shit like that, but I'm never saying do it my way. I'm saying, look what I did, even in the preface of 10 Rex. It's like, this is your story. Yes. Right?
Yeah, totally. I think that, there's a difference between for me, the fear of, maybe I'm not doing it right because these other people seem to have their shit together and I don't, right? Yep. Or there's I legit don't know how to do this. So I'm going to sign up for that program to learn more. Or I'm going to ask that person. I'm going to, find that person. Is that mine or yours?
Okay, this is hilarious. So I'm across from a hospital and Angela is across from the train tracks. So all of a sudden I hear, woo, because of the ambulance. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, it's the apocalypse. But yes, avant garde. But yes, there's a difference between going, okay, I don't know what I'm doing here. Let me look to somebody who does. Or rather than just never trusting what you do and constantly looking for assists. How many times do we say in a day, Angela, I have everything I need? Like we keep outsourcing with all these people and then we're like, there's nothing that we can't do or learn.
Oh yeah, our recent $600 misstep. We tried. It seemed good. Spaghetti.
All right. Yeah. So with that said, I do want to pull it. Because I pulled it out. That's what she said. Yeah. I wanted to read the card that struck me this weekend. This is Blaze, by the way. I love her too. Okay. Relinquish to trust. When you relinquish to trust, you will realize flow. You will realize that without the force, the constant attempt to make something happen, you will begin to experience being. I've been told a billion times, you just have to be. I'm like, what does that mean? Right? You will experience be. I'm like, I be all the time. No, I do. I don't be. I do. Okay. All right. Sorry. You will experience being. When you experience being, you will remember the time when you were careless and just lived. The unconscious knowing and trusting propelling you. The difference now is that this is conscious knowing. For now that you understand the process behind this change of psychology, you place yourself at the helm of your life. How many times do I got to get beat over the head with this? How many times do we have to get, you too, you. How many times do we have to get beat over the head with this?
Dana, that one, it hit me so hard because I know that I am constantly trying to control everything with everything that we're doing. I feel like if I'm not doing, something must be wrong. I'm not working hard enough. I'm not putting the right buttons. I'm not doing this. I don't want to be in that state anymore. It's just, it feels so disheartening to be in the upstream battle when it doesn't have to be. It's exhausting. And without getting too far into it, but I do this whole thing like in 10 Recs about how we're in alignment with certain experiences in our life. And when I was in education for all those years, specifically in the one school for 16 years, my battle cry was constantly championing the cause for these children, fighting the man to get the kids what they needed. And really it was my perpetual pattern of baby Dana needs to get her needs met. She needs to fight to get her needs met. And I did that. And as I began to evolve as a human being and have circumstances in my life that brought me to a place where that pattern no longer served me, then that job became very uncomfortable. It was always uncomfortable because I was always fighting for my cause, but it was a discomfort that I found comfort in. Make sense? Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It was my state of being. But when your state of being becomes, no, I want ease. I want flow. I want my life to be peaceful and harmonious. Then those relationships, whatever it is, your career relationship, your personal relationships, your romantic relationships, whatever it is, they no longer are comfortable. And you and me, we both know better. But when you're not paying attention, you get caught up in these old patterns. And I feel like these two cards were very, very timely for the both of us. Because you see, the last couple of weeks, I've kind of been in that place, like almost to the point of irresponsible and lazy. I'm like, whatevs. You know what I mean? Like a joke, like, you don't know my pants on right now, talking about Going Commando. Like it started with my kids' spring break. I was on spring break with them and I had to be off comms. And I was like, this is kind of cool. And then I had to stop and say, Dana, you've busted your ass your entire life. Eventually, a seed has got to sprout, and you don't have to be staring at it and watering at it and watering it and talking to it every 5 seconds. It knows what to do. It knows what to do, right?
Yeah.
You get pregnant. You don't sit here and micromanage the development of the baby. It is developing whether you like it or not.
It's getting bigger. No. I realized, no, 100%. I realized this weekend that I am helicoptering our business.
Did you? This week you realized that? Okay,
I did. Sorry, it took me so long. I'm back. You don't know what you don't know, right? No, but I realized that like when we were talking about how we do have all these seeds planted. We do have all these things that we've done that bring us so much joy. And then it doesn't feel good in the micromanaging of it, the helicoptering of it. It's growing on its own. And I have to now be like, okay, you are now like, I don't have to worry about you pulling knives out of the drawer. Like, you know what those are. You could be alone for a couple minutes, and I know that you're going to be okay because I've trained you well.
It's funny because when you were coming up with that analogy, the analogy I had, like I'm still in utero. I was like, you no longer have a tail. You're starting to get eye sockets.
Yeah, well, our baby has been born, right?
Our baby's been born. You're right. And it's not playing with knives anymore. You don't have to worry about it sticking a fork in the thing.
Yeah.
With the thing.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you still do, but you can walk away for a couple minutes. Like Christian, I can leave him in a room. He's 4 years old. I can leave him in the room playing. I know he'll be okay, and he'll call me. So why can't I do that with the business? You know what I mean? Like, why can't I allow it to just do its thing?
Relinquish the trust, MF. Relinquish the trust.
Yeah, let it flow. Yeah. That's why, like, I hardly did any work yesterday. Like, hardly. Because I always have to do a little bit because it's little things that I want to. But I just really I got it out of my brain. I started thinking about what I'm going to plant in the garden next, like in the summer soon, because it's coming, and just getting back to like taking care of me because I haven't done that. I've just only been taking care of the business and the fear of, oh my God, the business.
Yeah, and. I'm just going to take your analogy a step further because it's really important that we understand, me, you, whoever's watching, understands that we are speaking specifically about the business. But this is with everything. I look at my children. My children are 12 and 13. They're such dopes. Oh my God, I love them so much. Oh my God, they're so cute. They're such dopes. But anyway, I look at them and I see Angela, I told you last weekend, I had an example. Like I was making them help me clean my car and they didn't give me much argument. They were okay. They didn't want to do it, but they did it. But they're the ones who filled it up. So they're cleaning my car. But in the midst of cleaning my car, the front of my house, there's weeds that need to be done. So one of them needed the vacuum cleaner. The other one had to wait. And I was like, start pulling weeds. And next thing I know, I got two projects going here, right? I got who's pulling weeds, who's watering plants, cleaning out my pods, who's doing the mats in my car. And my husband even walked outside and was like, ooh, walk back inside. He's like, I am not tipping this apple cart because he knows he says one word, he's going to fuck the whole thing up, right? So I'm doing this thing. And even in my head, I'm like, I cannot believe what's happening right now. They didn't complain. They were like, okay. I was like, all right, I'll Windex the window. It was crazy. So anyway, we're done. We go inside. I make lunch. And Rob's like, what the hell? And I said, this is all of this hard work, all of the yelling, all of the behavioral charts. Remember, I'm a teacher. All the behavioral charts, all of you do get your allowance, you don't get your allowance. So they leave their shoes on the floor and I take them. I make them pay me for them, which seems like really petty stuff, right? Since they're really, really little, kids want to help us and we don't let them because they're annoying and they do it wrong. But like all of the patience it took, and next thing I know, my kids have sprouted and they're cleaning and they're helping without argument and they're a part of creating a clean car, a better home, whatever it is. And it's because I did the work. So now I could relinquish the trust. Now I could trust that I did all the things I needed to do. And there's nothing else I could do. I just have to, because remember, they're going into their teenage years. Whatever you do from 0 to 14, like now it's in somebody else's hands. Now they're like, I do what I want, right? So knowing that I did the best I could possibly do. Listen, I screwed things up. They'll be in therapy. We know this, right? But I did everything mindfully that I could possibly do from 0 to 14 to create these children. And now I'm starting to see the fruits of my labor and I can't micromanage it. I have to let them go into the world and be who they are. And that's what it is. Like right now with this business, we're at knives in the drawer. But after knives in the drawer comes with, all right, I want to be home when your friends come over. And then after, I need to see what you're doing on the interwebs or whatever it is. It just comes in stages. But the fact that you're recognizing this and saying, I need to pull back a little bit. You know, I mean, my kids are starting to go and sleep over kids' houses and stuff like that. And I'm like, have to let go, because if you hold on, it's like squeezing the soap. And that's what was happening with the business.
Yeah.
Again.
Absolutely. Oh, the missteps, right? Spaghetti! Oh, no! Oh, my goodness. No. And I remember when you guys were up here for last summer and your girls started clearing away plates. And we were all like...
Even I was like that. I didn't say anything. I'm like, don't make eye contact. Just let them do it.
I was like, well done, Mama. Because you know that's you. That's you.
Yeah. But you're not there. You're not at my house where my kid is like upstairs in bed. And I step over the towel on the stairs that was supposed to go up. And I step over it and I go upstairs and I get her out of bed and I say, get the towel. And it feels like very like Nazi regime. But at the end of the day, I am teaching her that I am not going to pick up her messes. Like I'm very, very aware of that. And we're kind of going in a completely different direction. But the point is, the moral of the story is when you know in each moment you're doing the best you can do in that moment, you're being the best version of yourself, you're giving it all, you're doing all the things, then you have to relinquish trust that energy, that intent is going to blossom. And then when you do 2 of those things in a row, now you have more power in that. 3, 4, 5, 6, now you've created a pattern. Now you've created a string of events. But what we tend to do with spaghetti is we do it great and then we fuck it up. And then we do it great and then we fuck it up and we do it. And what happens is we're doing this thing. It's like running from an alligator. We're like, that's not the first time that reference has come up. I don't know why that's so special to us. But when we're zigzagging and then we're like, how come I'm not getting to where I needed to go? Well, because you're zigzagging, you dope. So every moment, if we could be conscious of ourselves every moment and go, I'm going to be the best version of myself today, and then start to connect the dots, you start the beeline where you want to go.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's a great way to wrap the whole thing up.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
Just being in the flow, being relaxed, doing things that make us happy and bring us joy. You know, I need to I was thinking about this morning, I've been so you don't realize I carry it here. Right. I carry a constant knot in my belly. Right. It's always there. I can ignore it. I'm cool. I'm easy breezy, but I'm not. And then this morning and I'm like, geez, why am I not as fit as I want to be? Well, let's see. I don't walk. I don't do any exercise for myself. I don't take the time to do stuff. I'm shortcutting everything. And I think it's time to just really focus on my health, my well-being, and do the projects that are super fun for us. And then I know, Dana, I know you're always going welcome to the fucking party. And you think that I've been there.
I know. You mean create a foundation? And that's the thing. And I always am when you have these epiphanies, I'm like, oh, dude, the last 6 months I've been operating like she knew that.
Maybe just my pattern has always have been being a good actor. I don't know.
All right. Yeah. But it's not you. It's not you. Because like I said, and in conclusion, like I said, I have seen this card more times than I have seen you in the past couple of years. I've seen this card so many times. And I read it yesterday and I was like, oh, that's smart. Maybe I'll do that. I was like, what the hell? But we're only ready when we're ready. I made fun of you, when you say stuff like this, because duh. Of course I'm going to make fun of you. But if you don't think that I'm sitting right next to you doing the same thing,
I know.
Yeah,
I know. It's because you feel like you're there. I felt like I was there. I felt like I was doing it.
And you are there-ish until you're there. Yeah. And again, that's why in Buddhist, I don't know.
What just happened?
The gallery sometimes has a mind of its own. That's all I'm saying. I don't know what that was. But anyway, moving on. In the Buddhist philosophy, it's the eightfold path. And basically that's what you follow to enlightenment is a spiral staircase. So you have this belief, this situation or whatever it is you need to learn and you learned it. And then when you come around again, you come a little bit higher, you revisit the same thing, just at a deeper level. Like, I think I know so much shit. And then like I read this and I read it at a whole, because I'm at a different level of awareness. It's a beautiful thing. And that's the beauty of knowing that the more you know, you realize how much you don't know. And that's what keeps us humble. And on that note, I'll stop talking because.
Thank you. I learned something new today, Dana.
Oh, because I've only told you that about the spiral staircase like 50 freaking times. I guess now you're ready to receive it. I wrote it in a book.
Oh, motherfucker. All right. On that note, thank you, everybody.
Going Commando, man. This is what it looks like. You know, sans pants.
Maybe. They'll never know.
Okay.
All right.
So thank you.
Everybody.
Thank you, Angela. Love you, girl. Bye, everybody.
Love you too, Dane. Bye.
This episode is brought to you by Uniquely Phenom Collaboration. To learn about our tools and resources designed for creators by creators, go to uniquelyphenom.com.